And Alvin, I've turned over a new leaf in 2026. I
Oh,
am 100% going to be behind Novak Djokovic. I am not going to be waiting around for the retirement news. I am not going to be pushing this man into his wheelchair. I want him to win number 25, and it could not come at a better place than the Australian Open.
and welcome to another edition of the Best of Three podcast. It is the Australian Open Draw Show 2026 edition. TH, the 2026 season is officially upon us.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Are you excited?
absolutely, Alvin. I feel like it's been too long. But I feel like it's been just right. You know what I mean? I feel like they've, just when I was getting a little overwhelmed with a little too much tennis, they took a nice little break, little sabbatical, and now we're back in the mix. Alvin, I'm always excited for the Australian Open, and it comes at a perfect time in the year, right as my football is winding down. I feel
Yep.
like my tennis is picking up. So this part of the unofficial tennis commissioner, they got it right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. This is the Australian Open. Feels like a festival to kick off the
Right.
beginning of the tennis season, even though it
Yep.
feels like we just ended.
Yep.
A decent enough break for those of us not having to hit any tennis balls.
Right.
But yeah, it's currently I think 27 degrees outside here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oof.
So
Yeah.
looking forward to turning on some contrasting weather for the next
Right.
few weeks.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
but so we've got our draw here. We'll get
Yep.
right to it. We'll start with the women today. Draws came out a few hours ago. I've looked through it quickly. I think you may be giving it a once over, but we're gonna
Yeah.
do it live, as they say.
Yeah.
Let's start at the top half here. Top half of Arena Sabalenka's quarter. She is our number one seed. Um, I'm looking at the draw here. You start to see some names pop out. Maybe one Emma Raducanu, but I mean, they had a great match at Wimbledon last year. That's going to be a couple rounds forward if they can both get there, which
Yep.
I imagine they both will.
Yep.
Um, and then if they were to proceed any further than that, you've got a Victoria Mboko going
Yep.
from not participating last year, more or less
Right.
playing junior tennis this time last
Sure.
year,
Sure.
to a potential third round matchup with one Clara Towson.
Yep.
Um, that's I don't want to look too far ahead. We can probably save
Yeah.
that for next week.
Yeah.
But the idea of potentially Vicky and Arena playing a little further down here, maybe the beginning half of the second week, I look at that match as a potential matchup as just a big test, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We saw a lot from Vicky last year in her first first go round on tour, not even full year on tour,
Yeah.
and then the ability to maybe get some reps against the top player in women's tennis.
Yep.
That would be fantastic. Fantastic for us as fans to see where she actually is.
I agree. And Alvin, I have to say this because it happens every year. You can't sleep on the qualifiers. You can't sleep on some of the players that are getting in there 2 or 3 matches in. It's the first slam of the year. Really, if they didn't play Brisbane, it was, maybe their first event. And, obviously the tried and true like Sabalenka and others we're usually going to be just fine, even in the event of a player that they play who's on fire. But you always have to watch out for the sleepers. So like you said, let's not look too far ahead. You recall the same time last year, there was several seeds that went out first round. I mean, it was just an absolute bloodbath. So yeah, I see 2 or 3 qualifiers right already. You know what I mean? And obviously a wild card, Jones. I'm just saying, let's let's get through this first round. Potapova's a sleeper in this little section right here. If I'm not mistaken, she's under the guidance now of Dinar Safina in her camp. You got some people here. I always butcher this young lady's name.
Pavlyuchenkova.
Thank you.
There you go.
It's always a tough matchup and on the hard court. So I'm just saying, there's some names in here that I'm just like, don't sleep. This could be a don't sleep tour right here.
That's true. And I think at a macro level, I'm with you. but personally, when it comes to Arena Sabalenka, it's like death taxes in Arena
Oh,
Sabalenka, right?
100%.
This is all like the qualifiers and the wild cards and Potapova. That's all cute.
Yep.
I mean, you can take my pen or pencil. I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know where Arena's going to be in the
Yep.
second week.
Yep.
But that's why they play. That's why they play the matches. I'll
100%. But
stand corrected if I'm wrong.
still seething from last year's sting. Let's not sleep on that. Arena, don't ever forget stuff like that. I'm just saying in general for the rest of them, especially Raducanu and others. I'm just saying that's where these matches come in, and 2 or 3 matches in, the qualifiers have played 3 to get in, and so they're tested. And it's to me, it's always in that first round, where that they can catch that non
Yeah.
that non-qualifier, slipping a little bit. They're a little more comfortable with the courts. They got some momentum. You knocked out 3 matches out, but you're playing good tennis. I don't care what the situation is. Unless you're dinged up,
Yep.
you've won 3 matches, buddy. You got everything going in the routine, in the groove. I don't mention it in regards to Arena. I think we both understand that. I'm just talking about in the draw in general. I wanted to get that out there. The true fans that are watching, they know. And Australia is always notorious. I believe it was the Notorious B.I.G., with the little Duran Duran remix, you know what I mean? It's always notorious for the upsets this time of year. So we can keep moving though. I want to see what you're.
Well, I think that's a good point that you bring up though. Like, and the Australian Open is very unique in that, compared to the other Grand Slams, the warm up leading up to it is very abbreviated and sometimes non-existent for some players. I would say most players on the women's side have played either Brisbane or Auckland or the United Cup. Some haven't, and some haven't. But I think after after the off season ends, whether it's 3 weeks for some people, 6 weeks for others, depending on where you finish up your year, you put in that block of work. You might have added things to your game. You might have played a warm up event, but you don't know. You don't really know until that first match. And I think all 128 players, probably on both sides of the draw, come in with the same level of nervousness and anxiety for this particular slam, and then get through it at varying speeds, whether it's through that first match or even the first set. Like, you kind of settle in and go, okay, cool. Everything that I thought I was bringing into this year, I've got it now. Compared to like French Open, where you have a month and a half of clay court warm-up events, right? Or U.S. Open, when you've been playing on hard court for about a month straight at that point. So yeah, that's we'll keep it moving.
I just wanted to mention it because you and I both know we'll be talking the same time a week or so from now, and I would go out on a limb, Alvin, and say of the 32 seeds, I would go out on a limb and say, they shouldn't all meet until what, round 32? I would go out on a limb and say easy 50%, give or take, we'll may not be here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's just what historically has happened. 40% for sure. Just because of some upstarts of people you hadn't heard of. And you always got those lingering 33 through 42 that are in there.
Hey,
And Smith being seeded. They got a worse draw. They got a good draw. And the 30s that got a tough draw with somebody who, there's people in this draw that have won Grand Slams. I look down there at Marketa Vandruskova, who's 32 seed. This woman has played some ball and won a slam, and she's a 32 seed. So I'm just saying there's some sharks in these waters. That's literally and figuratively.
Absolutely. I mean, we can go right down to the bottom half of Arena's section here, which is headlined by Jasmine Paolini. But if you look a few rows down, like a matchup of like Putintseva versus Sadaj Maya, right? That's tricky. That is not straightforward. Both players have been, I think, have been seeded in Grand Slams before. And then you get the winner of that match to potentially meet up against Marta Kostyuk, who's played lights out tennis in the last week. Made the final of what tournament did she play in? She played in Brisbane, lost to Sabalenka in the finals there.
Sabalenka, about to say,
but she beat Pegula, Andreeva, and Anisimova on the way. Like, she's that's a player coming into the event where you're like, oh yeah, she's sharp, she's ready to roll, hitting that. You would always say that she's a fantastic mover. Hits the piss out of the backhand. Forehand can be a little thin at times, but she's hitting that thing big right now. Is it real? Let's find out. I think
Right.
if she gets herself into the third round of this tournament, then I think we're talking about maybe a different version of Marta Kostyuk.
Yep, I agree. And
And
there's your girl, Eviovic right there playing Katie Volinets, right there in a little American love on the wild card, which is wild card, on the matchup. So one of them
yep,
will get through. Magdalena Freck. Now I'm telling you, Alvin, like I said, there's some and we can't forget about Alexandrova up there at the top half of this whole section. So I'm telling you, these are those trap sections where you can't put it. That's exactly what I was talking about with Haddad Maya. You called it earlier. There's so much depth in this little mini subsection right here that you really just anyway, I don't want to overspeak it, but I'm just saying, I don't want to overstate it, but just saying,
uh,
these are those kind of matches I'm talking about where, buddy, as in a sense, and again, the number one seed deserves that kind of a draw. It didn't look as eventful like few qualifiers, sure, but you can't. There are the non-seeds, three of the non-seeds in this draw, in this section we're looking at right now on your screen, are as tough as some of the seeds and proven, I might add. No offense to Eva and others, but and proven. So this is not an easy. Unfortunately for the draw, two of them playing each other. So you
right.
know what I mean. So just saying, have they been in different spots, right? And anyway,
But
we can keep moving.
that's the beauty of Grand Slams, though. Like you get into
Right,
some events, like we'll just even take Brisbane that just wrapped up. Like Brisbane's is a tight 64 draw, and you get kind of these really really tough matchups very very early on. They're
right,
a little more spread out here through the first round of a Grand Slam, but they have the
right,
implications I think are magnified. Like
right,
someone like like let's even look at Jasmine Paolini, right? You would say this is her. She's the bottom half of this section. This is kind of her space to run through, but like not to disrespect her, but like she's got the work. Like after
yep,
the second round, it's work. She's got big hitters coming, um, or the potential upstart Jovic. Like this is her opportunity to show what she's really made of. Like, am I going to be a
right,
force on this tour now or
yep,
later? And I think
right,
this is a perfect opportunity to introduce herself to the rest of the tennis world.
right. That's right. Great subsection right there.
Another, let's keep moving down here. Top half of Coco Gauff's section
Ooh,
here.
buddy,
Potential second round matchup with one Venus
buddy.
Williams.
Yeah.
Let's Venus has some work to do. Olga
Yep, for sure.
Olga's not a sleeper.
Right.
Venus is
And
also
Venus is
not
not young. So,
right,
we
exactly.
gotta, while I would give her every bit of respect due. How many slams? 9? I mean, enough, right?
Enough.
Every
Yeah.
bit of the respect she deserves to get through match one. Mother time is always undefeated. So, got that. And that would be a match of the ages. I think Coco's first big win was against Venus from some years back. So that one there they actually play a lot alike, which is kind of funny. Both have great backhands and move well. And obviously Coco being that to me is a great match for sentimentality. And quite frankly, let's just give up one quick shout out to Venus still playing and being competitive at this level at what
Absolutely.
is she? What is she? 43, something like that? I mean, just
Maybe 45. She's
right. Is she? I've lost track, and doesn't even matter. The fact that she's still playing and being able to be competitive at this age is a joke of just her being in shape, her want to compete, and just her how good she is. As I said in a previous podcast with the Alvin, for her to be this good now, you forget how good she was 20 years ago. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And so that to me is every time I see her strike a ball, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This girl's tilting the ball this big. I'm like, it's a joke about how, I mean, we talk about Serena at length, ad nauseum, and much deserved. And we forget Big Sis was always the first one. You know what I mean? So
right.
anyway, look, coach, there's that match. Vondruskova and Haley Baptiste. That could be it. That's a tough one right there. And right behind it, you got Christiana and Muchova. This is what I'm talking about. You get these kind of matches. Alicia Parks and Alexi Allen. This is what I'm talking about. Emma Navarro and Magdalena. This
This
is
is a chunky section right
woo,
here.
hello.
This is a chunky section right here.
The
It's got a
third.
little bit of everything. It's got an ESPN dream matchup here with Gauff and Williams in the second round.
Right.
You've got a either Haley Baptiste or Muchova is getting off to a bad start this year. Let's put it that way.
Right.
One of them's going to come out of this tournament going, oh, that's not how I wanted to start the year.
100%.
And I think Haley's probably right outside the seedings. Yeah, she's probably right in the 50s, but still. Vondia, a former Wimbledon champion, French Open finalist.
Right.
And then, Parks, Ayala. Like, again, this is someone's going to be a little disappointed with the start of their season here. And it is what it is. Grand Slams, the draws are big. The chips fall where they may. Outside the top 8 seeds, you don't know where you're going. So, and this is for us fans, the beauty is in the depth, right?
Yep.
The beauty is in the depth where a matchup between Alicia Parks and Alice Ayala is something that it won't get TV time, but if I were at Melbourne Park, I would find my way out to court, whatever.
100%.
This would be an interesting one.
100%.
And ditto with Magnolia Linette versus Emma Navarro. Quick pause on Emma. We've talked about her a lot in our U.S. Women's wrap up. I'm gonna go ahead and put on the warning lights. I'm a little concerned.
Why?
After the way she finished last year, and then has started this year, lost to Dina Schneider quarterfinals of, I think, Adelaide, which had been like yesterday, day before, something like that. Okay. Also lost in the first round against Miss Jones in Auckland.
Okay.
So we're not. I would have liked to see her pop a big result to
early
make me
on
feel a little better about that whole she's somewhere between 8 and 15. And Magda's tough. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. But I got my rock side eye on that matchup for serious. Okay. I want
to add to that. There was an article I saw. You know how I am about players' mindsets, Alvin. It's one of the biggest things. I absolutely. To me, it's a death knell when I start hearing a little bit of the negativity of certain things. There was an article that came through, and I hate how journalists kind of rage bait the athletes themselves. So 100% she could have been misquoted and taken out of context. The article was basically speaking to the point that she, under whatever circumstances and context, said she had not gotten some of the same support that other American players had. On one end, Emma Navarro says this. And on one end, I'm saying, you know what? There might be some truth to that. On one end, clearly Emma and her family have fairly deep pockets, and I'm sure whatever she's needed, she's gotten. You know what I mean? On the tennis side of things, this is like
what support are you looking for, Miss Navarro?
Right. This is like Jessica Pegula saying, I just didn't get enough court time when I was growing up. You're like, you probably got more than most, right? It's not a comparison, and this certainly isn't about her dad's wealth. This is more about her dad started an academy with her being one of the prime benefactors. She went to one of the best college tennis teams in the country and won NCAAs, I want to say twice, before she went on the tour. She has received as much support as a person can rightfully think they deserve, and more so. And she's been a top 10 player. I would even say, has she benefited perhaps too much from some things, and now she's settling into where you mentioned this in the podcast about the end of the year recap, and now she's settling into where she is. The only thing I was concerned about was the attitude and mindset. When I hear those kind of comments, it strikes me as a cup is half empty, not a cup is half full type of perspective. And I get concerned because at that point, I feel like the player, at least subconsciously, is pointing a finger or two at something they haven't been able to get done, and they're looking for an excuse as to say why. When I hear a player own up to what they're talking about, own up to, you know what, I just got to work a little harder. This is going to be great. I'm so happy to see stuff happen. Honestly, I kind of went top 10, a little more than I thought I would be, but hey, so I now know I can do it. You know, I'm making some adjustments in my game. I'm going to keep going. I think that player's ceiling, right or wrong, is even higher because their mindset is higher. They're thinking about, and quite frankly, owning whatever the unfortunate has been, and they're owning it and they're moving forward. Even if it's a little snarky from time to time, Arena can be a little snarky sometimes with her
Sure. Yeah.
post-match interviews. And again, but I like it because she's saying, I'm better than that. You can read it as to say, you're not better than me, and that's fair. But Arena's going to speak to it like, oh, I'll be back. You know, she wasn't as graceful as Anisimova was in her Wimbledon speech, but that's Arena. I say it to say I would, and again, love to have been there when the conversation was had. So full transparency on that one. But I'm with you on that one, and I didn't want to bring it up until after the match, but I wanted to say it out there ahead of time so we can at least understand. And I'm hoping that Emma changes tack mentally, or at least through her comments going forward, I hear something different to know that she was misquoted or taken out of context, because I feel when players start talking along, and I've heard U.S. players for a long time, Alvin, 30 years, since Brian Haley was playing nationals and going to college. Oh, they didn't give me the same love they gave so-and-so. And I get it. It's a very common thread. But have the mentality that I'm going to do whatever I am meant to do on me. It ain't about USTA. It ain't about wild cards. It ain't about support. It ain't about none of that. It's about what you get done between those lines when that new can of balls is opened up. So I think that's where I'd like to see not just her results. I'd like to see her talk, her mindset show that. That's what I wanted to add to your two cents. Who we got next?
Fair enough. No, no notes there. Next up, bottom half of Coco's quarter here. Another tough one. This is an interesting quarter, and I mean, or interesting section of this quarter. Another tricky matchup: Barbora Krejcikova and Deanna Schneider.
I was just looking at that one. Babs is another one that probably should have been seeded. You know what I mean? Another Grand Slam.
That sucks for both of them. That is a bad draw for both of them. They would both think that they could get a couple rounds in here, but you know, Barbora, in very recent memory, it was in 2024. Hell, won Wimbledon. She made the round of 16 at the U.S. Open last year, but that's how the chips fall with the ranking points, right? You have to put together a full season to keep yourself in seeding contention, and you know, even Miss Schneider has some points coming off here, so she needs to her ranking's falling backwards. That's a tricky matchup. That'll be a good match. Two crafty players, almost like Babs is just a righty, not just Babs is a right-handed cleaner version of. Let me take that back. Dina is a left-handed
version of Babs,
solid version of Babs. Yeah, let's put it that way. Let's definitely put it that way.
Until Dina wins the slam, right?
Right. Yeah. Let me give Barbora her props here.
Right.
It's the comparisons definitely needs to go in that direction.
Right.
You know,
your Shrimpska and Roos is another one. That's a bit of a trap.
Yeah, Diana is always she always shows up ready to go in the first round of Grand Slam. She's pulled off some pretty big wins early in slams in recent memory. So I feel like she'll be ready. Mary Andreeva is playing good ball right now. I think she's in the semifinals of Adelaide. Currently, made quarterfinals of Brisbane. Is that right? Yeah, quarterfinals lost to Marta Kostick. Playing good tennis.
Who's playing some real good ball. And Mira's tracking just like she should. I was going to say that Donna Vekic that'll be a good match. Again, tried and true, veteran, tour player. But Mira's playing some really good ball right now. I think the person I'm most concerned, I don't say concerned, this match will be a bit of a litmus test for me is Maria Sakkari. I feel like, you know, seeing her going down, she's outside, you know, top 20, top 30. I think she's outside the top 50 now. And to see her, I know she has had a spate of injuries. I'd love to see this match. I'm not too familiar with Jean here, our French competitor, but I'd love to see her at least get to a match with, let's just say, Mira, and then have that match to make me understand what her shelf life is for 2026 going forward. Does she compete? Is she competitive? She's always been that way. So that's a match of a player that was, used to be, used to be a
She's
very
top 10
qualified.
player for a couple of years. Yeah.
Right. To see her, and you and I have seen this before, Alvin. She's on the other side of that top 10, let's be honest. But, with the chance to me, it's all about how competitive that match is with one of those players that's currently in the top 10 or top 20 to see, are you still relevant, such a harsh word. Are you still relevant in these types of competitions? So that's,
I'll
but
I'll even add, like, for her, she had a down year. And so was it a down year, or are we on the downturn?
100%.
She's
Great,
30
great.
she's 30 years old, but you would say no one's in better shape than her on the tour. Fantastic
Period.
mover.
Yeah.
I think she's gotten back together with her previous coach after a brief split. But I will say she opened the year at the United Cup, played some good ball. Lost to
Right.
Coco pretty handily, but then beat Emma Raducanu, who was a little dinged up, but for
Yeah.
sure, and then also beat Naomi Osaka, who was also sick in that event. But she did win some matches against some top 30 players while
Right.
there. Every match has its own story, but if you are the one that comes out as the victor in a match, you feel good about yourself as a tennis player. So I don't
Exactly.
think she could be coming into this event feeling any better about herself. She probably feels great.
100%.
She probably
100%.
feels like, I'm ready to roll. The Greek fans show up in Australia big time every
Right.
time. So I'm not saying that's going to be enough to get her past a
Right.
Manager, but I feel like she's probably put herself in the best position
That she could.
to
Right.
do so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Her.
All right, let's move down to the bottom half here. This would be the top half of Amanda
At the
Anisimova's
bottom.
quarter.
Right.
Yeah, top half of Amanda's quarter. The bottom half of the draw. Um, uh,
Mm,
I mean,
boy.
2018 special between Karolina Pliskova and
That's
one
right.
qualifier, Sloane Stevens.
I saw that.
Qualifying, she got in there. She
I
got
got
in there.
good. Good for Sloane. Good for Sloane.
She's not commentating. She's playing. This is it. One more time. Let's run it back. Let's be a professional
Yeah.
tennis player. Let's have at it. I with
Lot of.
Sloane, I was a little unfair maybe a little unfair to Sloane last year. Um,
Yeah.
she didn't play. She didn't look like she wanted to be a tennis player last year.
Yeah.
But having a former Grand Slam champion with a Q next to her name shows
Yep.
me that she's focused.
Yep.
Right? She had to win 3 matches to get into this position.
Yep.
No wild card, no protected ranking, just okay. I need to do I worked in the off season. I showed up down under. I won 3 matches. I'm in this tournament. Let's get after it.
Right.
And she has a I mean, Caroline Pliskova, I think she's coming back from, I think she had a kid,
Yeah.
uh, which is becoming more and more typical of the women's tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sloane has had the better of that matchup over the years. The last few times they played, it's been on clay. But
Yep.
again, last time they played on hard was probably 2018, 2019. So throw that out the window.
Yeah.
Meh. That's interesting.
I
That's interesting.
always get the two. Pliska was confused. Is this the righty or the lefty here?
This is the righty. Carolina's the righty.
Carolina's right. That's what I was thinking. Right. Okay. All right. Uh, I'm seeing 4 older players, coach, than this matchup that I'm like, whoa, between Madison, Sloane, um, Paula, obviously JPEG. There's a lot of, there's a lot of Pliskova. There's a lot of solid savviness in this part of the draw. I'm seeing obviously some very notable younger ones. Obviously not the least of which is Layla. On the side of things, this could be and obviously McCartney. I keep saying McLean. McLean's her brother. McCartney Kessler. There's several. This is kind of a weird, and obviously Ashlyn Kruger. You've got a nice mix of older and younger in this little subsection here, and I'd like to see the elder stateswomen, hold true to form on this one personally, just to maybe they can bow out later, but for this particular tournament, this particular point in time, I'd love to see them show that age ain't nothing but a number a little bit here, and and keep it moving.
Well, I think I'm with you. I would like to see, Jesse and Madison. Would love to see them match up in the fourth round. That
That'd
would
be
be
a great
fantastic.
quarter.
That'd be a great quarter. I like the serendipity of the way this draw fell.
Right.
We spoke in the U.S. wrap up about, Allison Kruger and McCartney Kessler, and
Yeah.
were they the ones who would take the positions of Pegula and Keys
Right.
respectively
Right.
when they decide to move out of the game. So I think
Right.
with potential second round matchups for both of them, and even you look at Madison
Right.
Keys and Allison Kruger, like similar game styles, and that's a match where I would like to see, like with Allison, I would love to see her push Madison.
Yeah.
But I would also like to see Madison come through that match. Like
Yep.
if it's a
Yep.
tight 2 sets, maybe split sets, and then Madison pull away like 6-2 or 6-3 in the third, something like that. That would be I feel good for both players coming out of that match.
Right.
What I would hate to see is, assuming they meet up, I would hate to see Madison beat her like 2-2 or something like that. I
Right.
was like, that's not
She's
good for
not
the
ready to
movement.
pick up the gauntlet and run down the road with it.
Right. And the same thing with McCartney if she were to play Jessica in the second round. Like,
Right.
I want to see her push her. I want to see her push her.
100%.
Just for the sake of the future.
100%.
All right, we'll
Real
keep moving
quick.
down here, bottom. Yeah.
Sure. Layla. What she's a Grand Slam finalist last time we checked, right? What do we think
Yep.
about the lefty from Canada?
I feel like
is
at
she the
last.
sleeper in that draw that could get that, we don't look too far. Is she playing that good a ball right now, do you think? And Paula, to me, is just if she's healthy. I think Paula is the sleeper, but a healthy Paula, right? But for Layla, what do you think?
That's a really good call out, because I would have breezed right past it, because Layla is slowly but surely moving her way through the echelons of tennis.
Right.
I feel like 2 years ago she was right around 50. Maybe last year
Right.
at this event she might have been the 32nd seed, something like that,
Right.
right
Right.
around there. But
Right.
now you got her. She is on no shade, right there on the cusp of top 20, and that's like because she's starting to put together some consistency in her results.
Right.
She seems to have found the best version of her game style, which is like she likes to play through the court and play on the rise, but sometimes can do it a little too much to the detriment of her own
Sure.
abilities, right? She's
Sure.
trying to go a little too big, a little too big for her own britches, if you will, right? So it seems
100%.
like she has realized that taking a step back sometimes is what she needs to do,
Yep.
and trust her ability to play a little higher, be willing to play a little longer in the points. I say that to say, if we get a Fernandez versus Keys in the third round,
Mhm.
yeah, she could win that match.
Right.
If anyone can run around and absorb pace,
Right. It's Layla.
that's like, it could be, that's Layla. Especially
Yep.
it's gonna be hot out there. Yeah, I think that's a really healthy call out.
Yeah.
That's because of the
And if
matchup, that is not
anybody, and
that's
that's
not
all I want to
straightforward.
say. I feel like we forget sometimes that she was the other half of that in the Raducanu, kind of dream slam for the younger kids, for the younger types a few years ago. And I feel like she, and as much as Emma's done a lot and garnered some headlines, I feel like Layla's just been quietly putting in work. You know what I mean? In the meantime, and you heard it right here. I feel like she's improved more than Emma has over the course of the last 3 or 4 years since that slam. And,
Yeah.
her results speak
Yeah.
for it. You know what I mean? So like I said, I just wanted to, she's a very sneaky 22 seed, you know what I mean, with a lot of goods and a lot of upsets, in this range, you know what I mean? And this is a unique draw subsection right here. Again, age versus the youth. In this case, this youth here is a Grand Slam finalist, and clearly not blown away by the big lights. She's and been putting in work ever since. So this will be a fun one.
We've got a few of them. You got a few of them in this section, right? Like when you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Madison's won a Grand Slam. It's final 2, final 1 other. Sloane 1-1, final 1. I think Carolina's final 1, maybe final 2. Layla final 1. JPEG's final 1. Like it's like this is a professional section for
That's
sure,
right.
for
That's
sure.
right.
Bounce it down here to the bottom half of Anisimovan's quarter. Again, another interesting All-American matchup. Like Peyton, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do it, this is where we need to do it. We can't live in a world where Peyton Stearns is ever gonna be a top 30 tennis player where she's gotta win this match.
Yep. No,
she
I
has
hear
to
you.
win this match.
Hey, no pressure.
No pressure. I'm pissed. You know, it's whatever. I'm pissed. Sophia's probably like, yeah, I'm gonna dog mark her. But I'm a little. Maybe I'm just mad at the draw. I'm mad at the draw because I want this Peyton Stearns thing to happen, and maybe it's just not going to. And like in all seriousness, that's not actually how you want to open up the tournament. Like Sophia, also former Grand Slam finalist or champion. Pardon me.
Champion. This tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
That's yep. And that's tough. That's tough. Linda Noskova. I hate some praise on her in our. Yeah, and she's played okay, right? Lost to Mira in Brisbane last week, round of 16. No, tough 3-set match. I think that's a forget the round. That's fine. That's fine. With two players who are, we're looking at them as the kind of the 2 of the 3 youngest players in the top 20 in the world right now, matching up. Tough match before coming into the Australian Open. Kind of a coin toss in that 3rd set. But I like where if Linda's healthy, I mean, let us not forget she beat Iga in this tournament 2 years ago, I believe it was. She is definitely one to watch, not just in the tour, but in this particular tournament. Potential 3rd round matchup with Panko if Panko were to get there. Yeah, this is going to be fun, and I think a nice runway for Amanda Anisimova as well.
Yep. Any concerns with Siniakova, possible matchup with Anisimova?
No, because I've watched enough of Siniakova play singles, and like she has too many holes to bother good players, which is why you don't really see her ever winning more than 1 round in a Grand Slam. She's a obviously fantastic, the best doubles player in the world. But that's speaking of which, her partner did not qualify. Miss Taylor Townsend.
I was watching that. I knew you were going to bring it up.
I didn't know when I was going to bring it up. I thought I actually just forgotten. I had forgotten it, didn't have it in my notes, and then I see Siniakova, and I am reminded that we just talked about this, and this is why you got to get in the event to get these points. And she's taking a long way.
Yep. The way that doesn't always
I
get
digress.
You there.
Exactly. Yes. It's a long way through the woods, and you might not come out on the other side. But yeah, I think for Amanda Anisimova getting out of the gates here strong is obviously number one. She looked fine last week. When she played in Brisbane, lost to Marta in 3 sets. Marta played fantastic all week. I think Amanda's right where she needs to be. She usually doesn't need a lot of tuning coming into these events. She plays 1, gets the Grand Slam in recent history. She's been ready to go. So,
she's
this
got
seems like a.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. No, I mean, it seems like she's one event, ready to roll, shows up, plays her brand of tennis.
I was gonna say you're exactly right. I was gonna say, and she's got the Novak Djokovic 4-seed draw. You're right. She's got of all the draws that we've seen so far. No shade on anybody here. Everybody here is good. They're professional tennis players. But for her matchup and for the significance of some of the numbers and some of the numbers who may or may not be as threatening, she's certainly got the Novak Djokovic 4-seed, which is like, hey, I'll pay you an extra $100,000 if you can give me the 4-seed with this draw. You know what I mean? That's
it's not a bad. It's not a bad draw. It's not a bad draw. I mean,
you're trying to come out and you know what I mean? This is a pretty good draw for as limited as what's solid. Obviously, all of them are solid. But as far as things going through, you know what I mean? This is not a bad. There are worse draws. You know what I mean? There are worse
There are worse
draws
draws.
to be had for sure.
And Amanda has developed a profile of players that there's a profile of player that can trouble her, and that player does not exist until potentially the fourth round against Noskova. And I don't even think Noskova is quite in that tier
Right.
just yet.
Agreed.
You kind of gotta go big. You gotta go big all match
Right.
to trouble Amanda, and I just don't see the necessary the required firepower in this section
Right.
to really
Right.
bother her. So
Right.
I would expect her to get off to a great start in this event. All right, let's slide on down here. Top
He's a
half
girl.
of this would be Iga's top half of Iga's section here, with Miss Elena Rybakina as the
Yep.
top seed here. Um,
I see. I see the
yeah,
same thing here. I see the same thing here.
what's the as far as a kind draw?
Kind draw. If the bigger seed left in your draw is Belinda and my joint and others, I'm like, again, at least Mertens is never a slouch, but I'm looking at some older players here as well with Belinda and Elise that are both, pushing the older side of things, and perhaps some of their better matches are behind them. You got Kazakina, who's a very solid non-seed, but she'll have to run into Katie Bolter / Belinda Bencic, matchup there. I don't know. I'm looking at Rybakina too, and I'm kind of glad Rybakina and Amanda are on the other side of things. So while they may match up at some point, they're going to go in different directions, and that saves that makes the quarter / semi down the road look very, very rough. But this is another of if I'm Elena, we're back in. I'm like, I can work with that. You know what I mean? I can work with that all day.
Yeah,
And this is and some good tennis. Don't get me wrong. There'll be some good tennis played, but this is one of those. I'm looking at this draw and I'm just thinking to myself, not too many of them have the firepower, the game to rattle her. Now, Rebecca can be rattled. She can be self-beat from time to time, mentally. But as far as on the tennis court, there's not a lot of people that can take the racket out of her hand, and the few that can are not in this subsection. So this would be a good
right.
match for her to follow up the tour final, from end of last year.
Yeah, I want to kind of say the same. I mean, same thing. Yep, the profile of player
Yeah.
that Rebecca struggles with is just not even. I mean, even if she were to get all the way and play, Belinda Bencic in the fourth round, still not the type of player she generally struggles
Right.
with. I'm gonna take a step back though, because there are kind of two things that I said at the end of last year that I want to make sure I don't ignore. Uh, One being Elena Rybakina, right? I think we are
Yep.
both very full throated about our belief in her being an upper top echelon player on the women's tour, potential number one player on the women's
Potential.
tour, based
100%.
off of effectively her results at the WTA finals. Like, let's not back off it. If she's gonna do it, like she needs to she needs to follow that up with a top four finish here in this
Thousand.
event. Like she needs to come out and like bust heads through the first week of this tournament and come into the quarterfinals like head held high,
Yep.
biceps flexing, like let's go. And
Yep.
then the other one is I need to refine my position on Belinda Bencic right now.
Okay.
Belinda, I when she came back after like post kid, and it almost felt like a feel good story.
Yep.
I personally forgot how good she was before she left. Like
Sure.
she was a perennial 8 through 11 player for about
Yep.
4 years,
Yep.
had a child more or less in her prime, and is now back. She's a lot younger than I really gave credence to. She's only 28,
Yep.
which tells me she's actually probably got about 3 years left playing at a very high level.
Yep.
And she looked fantastic at the United Cup. She beat everybody down. Like she
Yep.
beat everybody. Everybody. I'm not even list. She beat everyone. And I think coming into this tournament, like remember she made it all the way to the round of 16 of this event last year, effectively off of no tennis.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I feel like 10's about right for her, and she might
Yeah,
hold that all year plus some. Um, yeah, all year plus some. She could be a top 10 player, maybe even pushing tour finals by the end of this year, if she stays healthy. The tennis I've seen her produce in the last, not even, let's just say the last 12 months, is like, okay, yeah, no, she's still good. She's still really good. So I didn't want to get out of here without
yeah.
publicly giving her props
Her props.
before she
Yeah,
makes everyone else look stupid, me included.
yeah,
All right, let's progress here. Last section. This is one Iga Swiatek section. Interesting matchups potentially.
yeah,
Osaka versus Abelise, potential second round matchup. That'll be fun. That's good
yeah,
for the people. It's good for the sport. Um, two personalities, if you will, meeting up
yeah.
early before
So
we get
was
to the fireworks
Cirstea.
and the last later rounds of this tournament.
Right.
Yeah, Serrano. Yeah. Serrano may be like,
Toronto's,
oh, whatever. I don't
she's
care about
always
any of this,
feisty.
and then like she gets Maker 3-3. Like it could
Yeah,
definitely happen.
right.
Other feisty players, Laura Sigmund here,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
giving
It's
Ludmilla just a
Antonova.
horrible first round matchup.
Right.
Godly, that's tough.
Yep.
That's tough. I feel like they've played before. I feel like Laura actually gets the better of this matchup over time.
Yeah,
I don't have it written down in front of me, but I feel like she's got a pretty, it might be 2-2
yeah.
career, with Sigmund taking the last two potentially. Um, and then towards the bottom half here of this
Oh,
very small section, Kalinskaya potentially to meet Iga in the third round.
yep.
Iga, rough United Cup, lost to Belinda, lost to Coco. Um, potentially a little banged up coming out of that event as well. Not playing it,
Yeah,
didn't play any of the other events in between it. She's gonna get a pretty good start here. Buzkova or Zarzula would be, sharpening for sure.
yep. Sure. Don't forget
But
about your
Kalinskaya
girl.
brings enough. Which
I was gonna
one?
say your girl, Coach Loretto. Didn't she knock out a? Didn't she knock out who? What seed did she knock out in Wemby? And to kind of announce her presence. I was. She's part of that whole Italian wave. I want to say, she had to be. She was it Coco? She beat somebody pretty good and knocked out the second round of Wemby. I'm gonna look it up real quick. She was very, but my point is very solid off the ground. Hits a big ball. Not too tall, this young lady, but I'm telling you, she and very. I mean, one of those names. I remember her name because of that match. I'm like, oh my god, this girl's good. And
Oh, she
she
beat Pegula in the first round of Wimbledon.
JPEG. That's what it was. Not I was gonna say
She
it was
beat
somebody
JPEG.
solid. Somebody very solid who I forgot who it was, but I thought it was American. And man, Alvin, I'm telling you, that's the kind of player on a hard court who likes on the rise that if I'm a Kalinskaya, I'm not feeling great about this kind of player kind of thrives on the upsets. I'm just saying, can't look past that matchup. She's got her work to do in the first round as well. But just those type players to me tend to have difficulties with other counter punchers, right? But when they have a good hard hitter or a good player that likes to kind of come through and dictate play, they are right at home, Briar Rabbit in the Briar Patch. So that's just, this'll again, Iga's in a nice situation. I would love to see a fourth round matchup with Naomi. I'd love to see Naomi start this term like she finished up the Open and other tournaments last year. Obviously, I know she's had some injuries as well, but this is one of those a little more quietly of a trap subsection, but it's still Samsonova, Kalinskaya, Osaka. You've got obviously Iga. You've got some tough sledding in here with a lot of players that can be some tough matchups. Certainly not the easiest draw for the difference in the one subsection and the two seed subsection is pretty significant. So just saying.
Yeah. All right. I think with that we can progress over to the men's draw. That felt good.
Yep.
I
Yep.
feel I feel like we covered all the good
Yeah.
stuff. So hopefully if you're on site or you're watching at home, you've got plenty of matches to pick from in the
Yeah.
opening days, kind of Sunday through
Yep.
Tuesday. I guess both local and Eastern.
Yep.
days. It's hard to, it's in my head. I know Australia's 14 hours ahead of us, but like doing the math of like what day anything's happening there is always very tricky for me.
Right.
That's just those are my own
Right.
problems.
Right.
My own
And
problems.
then
All right.
and then with 3 days for the first round, it can also be tough, right?
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving forward here. Top half of Carlos Alcaraz's quarter. I mean, for him, I think it's a pretty straightforward out of the gates. Nothing too tricky. 3 out of 5 set matches. Like you don't really, people not named Yannick Sinner don't tend to bother him. There's actually clearly no one that tends to usually bother Carlos Alcaraz is anywhere present on this screen right now. So we can leave it there. We can leave it there. But there are some really interesting matchups here. One, Michael Zhang versus Sebastian Korda. Do you know anything about Michael Zhang?
Very little.
Okay. I know he's a very young player. I think he's currently in college, plays at Columbia University.
Okay.
Qualified in Sebastian Korda. That'll be a interesting matchup. Actually, you know what? I forgot. We generally take a break between men's and women's. So before we actually dig into the men's draw, let's take a quick break, and then we will come back and handle the rest of the men's draw. And we're back. Okay, so we just finished up the top half of the Alcaraz quarter, and we're now moving down to the bottom half of that quarter, which is a little. This one's got some fun first round matchups. Really fun. I see there's 2 in particular that I'm looking at, one at the top and one at the bottom here.
Agree.
At the top, you've got Bublik versus Brooksby, and at the bottom of this section, you've got Berrettini versus Minaur. Those are both fun matches in their own right for 2 different reasons. Actually, I'm going to start with the bottom matchup, Berrettini versus Minaur. That is tasty because Berrettini actually owns the lead in that head-to-head. I think 3 matches to 2. These aren't old matches. They split the matches last year 1-1.
Wow.
So this is I think for the hometown sensation. Kind of hometown sensation, Alex de Minaur. This, quite frankly, sucks. This is the worst. Right. This is the worst first round matchup.
Certainly not a great draw for him. This Berrettini's one of those just outside the top 32 types. That's you could make an argument for probably should have been seeded. He's Italy's excluding Yannick, number 2. And he's number 3. I forget about Caboli, who's by the way up there.
And you forget about my man Musetti as well.
Musetti's. I'm saying past Yannick. Musetti's. I mean, and Yannick didn't play Davis Cup. I'm saying so.
Right.
I'm
Musetti,
saying
Cavalli.
You got Musetti as technically one if you talk Chuck Davis Cup, and obviously then you've got Caboli, and then of course Berrettini. I'm saying he's not far up the depth chart of the Italian players. Who last I checked did pretty well in Davis Cup this past year. You know what I'm talking about. So I say that to say this is a tough matchup for a guy that's played a lot this past year and done well. I agree with you, Alvin. This is a very tough first round for de Minaur. When I first saw the seeds, I said, "Wow, they're giving him a little home cooking." You know what I mean? And I know 6, 7, 8 could be a stone's throw from each other. And I said to myself, I said, that's a little tough going over, higher seed than Fritz or Ben. And I'm like, well, whatever. He's Australian, whatever. And now I'm kind of like, did you do him a favor though?
Well, I mean, let's level set though, because the seedings are reflections of rankings, and Alex did pass both Felix and Fritz in the rankings right before the tournament, right before the draw was, or I guess the rankings were frozen for seeding. So it's like
I wasn't calling state. I was merely calling it out.
I was thinking about this the other day though, like at some point we should probably do an episode on what we consider our power rankings to be, because rankings are a reflection of a composite results over the last 52 weeks, right? But when you and I look at 2 players playing against each other in a match that has nothing to do with your seedings or rankings, right?
Right.
You can't say that if Berrettini's ranked 40 in the world right now, or let's say 42 for easy math, de Minaur's not 7 times better than him, right? It's like we have to look at these things through a lens of like, we watch tennis, and I think, regardless of rankings, I think this guy, when he plays this guy, that he's probably, I would actually pick this guy to beat this guy, even though the rankings would say that shouldn't happen. And that's not how tennis is played over the course of 12 months. But when two players walk onto the court, that's exactly how it's played. The rankings don't matter anymore at that point, right? It's game styles and where what their level is right now.
Right, matchups. Isn't there still a part in the power ranking for how the player did the previous year? Isn't that not how they're still doing it? Or
for seeding purposes, no. No, they stopped doing that a few years ago. So it's like,
well, that's my point. I was curious as to why Madison got, mind you, 8 was a very generous 8 from compared to the rest of her year, but as defending champ. I was only mentioning that to say because I thought that was a bit low for her if it was the Australian. So I'm glad you called me up on that. But that's what I was going to say was I felt and that was the other thing. I thought maybe he got the bump because of last year's Australian. That's why I was thinking. I didn't realize that numerically he bumped them out.
Yeah.
As far as rankings, hey, makes sense, and I appreciate you catching me up to speed on that. A few other good matches, in this good tennis all the way around. I mean, Echeverry and Kecmanovic. I mean, you've got, Cabol is always fun to watch. Francis is, is going to have a resurgent year or so, he would hope. Obviously the two you mentioned are very solid. Patrick Kipson, wild card here from the southern section over here from North Carolina, plays Comasada. There's just a lot of good, some good matches in here. But to your point, that Brooksby Bublik match could be tough. Berrettini, you got to factor in Alex. The Demon will be playing with the home crowd every match. I mean, even when he takes warm-up court, he'll draw a crowd. But that could be. But Berrettini always loves controversy and he loves a challenge. He might play better, Alvin.
And his fans travel. He has fans all over the place. The people, ladies love Matteo Berrettini. So
yeah, Matteo.
but the Bublik Brooksby match, like, I don't want to gloss over it. Like, this goes back to what we talked about in our year, one of our year in reviews for U.S. tennis. Like, if Jenson Brooksby is going to be more than a wild card kind of player, like, this is actually the best top seeded player for him to play, because Bublik, I think we're all still a little unsure how real this Bublik thing is. Yeah. And Brooksby is the almost the perfect example of something that could, like, kick out the bottom of this deck of cards or this house of cards, and like, Bublik could beat him 3-3-3 if a number 10 seed should beat Bublik. I mean, should beat Brooksby 3-3-3, or maybe a tight set in there somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's going to be a mess. That match is going to be a mess.
Martin Fuskovic wouldn't mind, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, seriously, he's doing bicep curls on the sideline, just waiting. Like, yeah, whatever you guys want to do, let me know. Let me know. All right, let's keep moving forward here. Top half of the Zverev quarter here. Again, as tennis fans, we're lucky. We're extremely lucky. This is also a very fun section in that the seeds, 3 of these seeds here got no favors done to them. Zverev versus Diallo is, that's a shootout.
Yep.
Like, big man's going to be throwing heat, and I mean Gabe in this instance. And so you saw how he matched up well with Fritz at Wimbledon on Taylor's best surface. If he's serving well, this is kind of, especially the courts are pretty fast in Australia. It's hot. This is honestly anyone's match. I'm not.
What color is his hair? This gonna be this year?
Who knows? Who knows?
If he throws it on Australian Open blue, I got him. I got him for beating Zverev, and maybe even going a round or two past. I like this kid. I've always liked him. He's a little flashy, but and I've been very underwhelmed by Alex, and I love that he's just. I'm just so. It's. he's like meatloaf. I roll my eyes when I see him. I'm like, oh, meatloaf. It's always tasty if done right, but man, you're like, really? Again? It's like I don't know. I just don't know. And I felt like his best slam last year was this one, right? And he got the gift in that one from Novak. So love the kid. known of him since he was little. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about him. But dude, it's time. You know, the match I'm very curious about is this Bonzi Cam Norrie match. Is that the third one you were talking about?
Yeah, that was the third one I was talking about.
Because that one is like, I'm like, dude, if anybody could match up well to Cam, and Cam, especially given his Wimbledon performance last year, I mean, Cam had a pretty decent year for a resurgent year, and to play Bonzi, man, that's another tough one right there. You gotta there's some tough matches in this whole little subsection here.
Especially
Popper and Muller is not a bad one either. I mean,
that one too. Yeah,
but that Bonzi Norrie match is going to be like, woo! It could go the distance. I mean, it really could.
And Bonzi last year beat Medvedev twice in Grand Slams, right? He beat him in the first round of Wimbledon, beat him in the first round of the U.S. Open. Both of those matches went 4 sets. The U.S. Open match went 5 sets. So when you start talking about Bonzi as a guy that can match up, has proven he can match up well with players who want to play extended rallies from the baseline, right. And that is Cam Norrie just on the left-handed side, right? And also wants to slide that backhand through the court. Like, right. I think obviously you're talking about a lefty and a righty, but you're also talking about that trade-off there with the handedness. But Medvedev has a higher top end than Cam Norrie does. He has won Grand Slams. He's been the number 1 in the world. I say that because I feel like Benjamin Bonzi is going to be ready for this. Right. He's gonna be ready for it. That's an unfortunate first round match for a seeded player, but that's what Grand Slams give us. And then the third match down there, Rublev versus Arnaldi. I think that'll just be fun to watch. I actually think I've seen Arnaldi play in person, and he's got all the skills. He's fun to watch. He's just a little bit underpowered, and I think, I feel like that is just enough of reason to just go ahead and give Rublev the edge in that match.
But
he is fast,
and he counterpunishes well. So those are matchups where on paper you're right. Looking at the two of them head to head, you're right. Rublev will strike. We know that. That's as sure as anything. However, that matchup to me is a tough one, and I think that's Rublev has not had the crazy amount of success. Mind you, he did well last year, 13 seed. Clearly, he's doing well. I just wonder if he has had enough success to feel like he owns players like this in these kind of matchups. He's better off going up against a higher seed, in my opinion, mentally, outside of Yannick and Carlos, than he is playing a seed just a little bit below him, and especially with 30 and out, because that's where I feel like the expectations kind of creep back in, and that's where he is it could be a little volatile. This is going to be a tough. This could be. I don't know. This could be a tough match for Andre, and I just hope that the good Andre shows up, and the mentally stable, because he's so fun to watch deep in a tournament. He just has to. He's one of those players. He needs to get through that first round, and feel good about it.
And they've in their reaching the matchups, right? So they're, I guess, actually head to head over their career. It's 2-2, but in the last 3 matchups over the last 2 years, Arnaldi actually has the edge, right? He beat him at French Open 24. He beat him at Indian Wells last year. So it's
the Indian Wells one to me is important. In France, it's an clay, fair, but,
right.
And because Arnaldi's fast and he moves well. To me, hard court, that to me is that's troubling. I'm telling you, I don't like that matchup for Andre, and
that'll be a fun one.
I'm a huge Andre fan.
Yep. That'll be a fun one. I think that'll be worth if it's infringing on your sleep schedule. I think it would be one worth sacrificing a little
100%.
bit of sleep for, because
100%.
it will be entertaining, and I think the result will be of consequence. All right, let's move on down here. Bottom half of Zverev's quarter, which is headlined by Felix and Medi. I think Felix, that's a tough first round matchup against Nuno Borges. That is no joke. Yep. That is no joke for someone who's trying to live up to the way, start the year the way he finished last year. Could have asked for a better first round match. That's going to be not only a tough one, but again, very similar to that Rublev versus Norrie match. It will be entertaining and it will be of consequence because Nuno Borges could definitely beat Felix, and I think both of them know that going into
Yep.
that match.
Yep. Yep. Portuguese finest right there. Lerner and Jerome.
Oof.
So there's a few of these as you look through the draw.
Yeah.
American, we talked about it a little bit before we kicked off the countdown. And I want to give that one a justice before I talk about Cerundolo and Jordan Thompson, which is another very, very zesty match. Clearly, Lerner's played well. He won the next gen situation this past and Meta Jetta.
Jetta. Yep.
I don't know. I just don't. I think if anybody has a shot against him, especially with the hard court, and again can attack that serve, is Marcus Giron. And I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, first you look at Lerner's kind of progression in the last 12 months, right? He qualified into this event last year, takes down Medi in the second round, makes a run to the round of 16.
Yep.
And now finds himself in the top 30 and he's seated in this event, right? So, I mean, hats off to him first and foremost for coming out of the gates like a bat out of hell. Love to see it. Marcus is obviously on the I'd say the back end of his career. Like he's 32 years old. So I think he's been ranked a little bit higher, but has been in that kind of 40 to 60 range, maybe 50 to 70 range his whole career for the most part. This is one of those matchups where these dudes both live in Southern California.
Yep.
I'm sure they've played together, trained together many times.
Right. They know each other's game.
Yeah, I mean, Lerner's probably a little bit more closely tied to the USTA still than Marcus, but at this point they're both a few years on tour, living in Southern California. Marcus beat him last year. It was on clay in Madrid. And again, it's just best of 3 as opposed to best of 5.
Right.
It's a toss up. It's honestly a toss up.
Yeah.
Like I
just
feel like
go ahead.
Marcus, his experience, like Lerner's never been the hunted before as a professional tennis player, and Marcus probably goes in this match feeling like, oh yeah, I know I can beat him. I can beat him. He probably has beaten him plenty of times in practice sets. So even if Marcus wins this match, I don't consider this a step backwards for Lerner in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Or do I really consider it an upset? It's just it would just be is. Yeah.
Yeah. And to your point, I don't want to ever not give these players their props. All these guys are phenomenal. I want to keep repeating that. It's easy to sound critical when we're comparing them, but we're literally comparing, we're comparing in some cases, some of the best of all time against the current best of all time. So in this case, we're talking about some really, really good players, top in the world. So, you mentioned he kicked off the year last year in the great tournament. He finished the year, Alvin, with the next gen final, winning the next gen tournament. And you heard it right here. I don't think he was the favorite to win it. I mean, I was a huge fan of I call him Block X because I think the way the font works, the X always looks like it's a little stranded from Block. But my main man Block X played some phenomenal tennis. There were some really good players there in that in that tournament. Jodar, who I know played at UVA. There's just a lot of good ballers right now coming up, and I was hoping that Block X would have made the draw. I think he lost in the last round of qualies, but again, he'll be there. But I say that to say you can't sleep on Lerner's year. I mean, he had a phenomenal year, and so he deserves to be everything he's gotten. He deserves to be. He's working hard. He and his team. I know. I'm pretty sure Chang is still one of his main coach, or at least one of his coaches on the team. He's got a great team behind him, and this kid's going to go far. Should he? And let's face it, Lerner always does. He always puts up a great fight. So if Marcus is not ready to go 5, I'm going to tip my hat to Lerner actually in this situation. I was just saying this is a kind of a tough matchup for him. And again, we'll see what happens, but it could be a really fun match to see as it goes down. What I want to talk briefly about. Hats off to Mr. Yemmer, the black Swede, and who's been out there trying for a long time. He and his brother. But I do want to speak to Cerundolo and Jordan Thompson. What's your thoughts on that match there? And this is the
I
other
have
Cerundolo, right? This is
this is
Cerundolo's
the
brother.
other
Right,
Cerundolo,
right.
the less good Cerundolo, and I think even the other this is the other Yimmer as well. Like there's two Yimmers.
Michael's the older one. Michael's the older brother. Yeah.
Jordan Thompson. So this is like Jordan Thompson's back, right? He's back. He got the
Right.
wild card. I think he had an elbow injury last year, and was he the Australian with the elbow injury or the Australian that got suspended? Which one is he? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I think elbow injury, but he's back now. Wild card. Okay, that's fine. I hadn't thought about this match at all.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I only mention because he's Australian. He's good. He knows his way around the net. Obviously, is a good doubles player. I just feel like that's anytime you see the Australian flag there, you got to be on the lookout. And when it's a guy like Jordan Thompson that's pushed some top players and beaten many top players, that's no walkover. And then again, that matchup, should he get through Cerundolo, which is a good chance, he would then again face Mr. 7 seed, who's going to have to really play against the crowd, play with some of the things right after a tough Borges match. So I'm just saying I mentioned it in terms of his way through will be a tough one, only to possibly reach Lerner. And so, I mean, Felix will have his work cut out for him. If Felix wants to kick the door down and truly be respected as a top 5-ish player, this is the way to do it. You gotta, as they say, to establish yourself as one of those top players, you gotta plow through some players who and make your case. So this will be a good match. There'll be a good term for him with this draw to prove just that.
Yeah, I think Jordan Thompson, it seems like right now his level is going to be the thing that keeps him from moving forward, as opposed to the Australian crowd moving him forward.
Right, fair.
It's a really good opening round matchup for him, right? His ranking's kind of slipped a little bit. He's been playing kind of challenger since the latter part of last year. He's in Sioux Falls in October, so like I don't know where his game is right now. But if he's let's assume the best, and that he's healthy and playing his brand of tennis, he's going to bring a lot of pressure. I like someone bringing pressure against a South American, technically. So that I can see where that's a you want to give the wild card by name the edge there. But really, Jordan he's won a lot of matches on tour over the last 5 years. So yeah, I can see it.
Just saying, it's and to your point, I'm not sure how far back it was, but he did beat. I'm looking at a Chapeau win in a tight 3-setter, 10-8 in the third. I'm looking at a few other matches where he's just gone through some decent plays. You know what I mean? I'm seeing some other matches where he's done okay. I like the body work, and if he's healthy, again, we won't wax too much further on him. But I think it's a good. Again, you gotta watch. There's only a handful of them, but you gotta watch those Australian players in Australia. You just do.
That's true. That's true.
It is what it is. Who you got in this one here? Right, this side of the draw.
So we're moving into the bottom half. This is the top portion of the Novak Djokovic quarter, which okay. Yeah. All right, we're gonna take this one apart a little bit. One interesting first round match between Dimitrov and Machac, right?
Yep.
That'll be fun. I can't call it, but I would imagine that's a Dimitrov win. If he's healthy, I just don't trust Thomas Machac to win any match of consequence, and so I just assume Grigor, doesn't pull another peck or something, and he's fine. He's good to go, and he gets through that match. And then it starts to get there's a lot of question marks here, right? Grigor's health. Tsitsipas had a good win last week against Taylor Fritz. Was that real? Is Taylor okay? Like, he seems to have some knee problems. They're starting to linger here and pop up more frequently. So is he going to be able to hold his seed? I would imagine if Lehechka and he make it to the third round, that's going to be a hell of a match that he's going to have to expend a lot of effort there. What does he have, like, physically? What does he have right now? I think anyone's questioning his game, where his game is, but like, if he can't hold up, then what do we have left? So I would honestly, if someone forced me to put money down on who's coming out of this quarter, I'd probably or out of this section, I'm probably just going to take Musetti.
Right,
He's safe.
and take the S&P average over any individual.
Yeah, I mean, Musetti career high. He's a top 5 player.
Don't rub it in, Alvin. I have given him as much credit as I will give him. He is a heck of a player. I saw him in person. I said that. I've come out and said it on multiple occasions, Alvin. You heard it right here. He's a darn good tennis player. I mean, phenomenal. I am not giving him any more than that. That's all you're gonna get out of me today.
I mean, at some point you can give him what he's owed, because he's number 5 in the world. I mean, the conversation is pretty consistent with what we've been saying over the last few months. I would say, if you take Novak out because you don't know how much he's going to play, 3 through 10 in the world is wide open. Like it can fluctuate. It fluctuates a lot, and so like you like Taylor Fritz, I think had this spot last year. At some point he was 4. Now he's 9. Is he any different of a player? No. It's just like those guys kind of grouped together there are so close in output and ability that this is what we get. And does it matter? No. As fans, we get some good tennis to watch, but it does matter when in terms of how it impacts seedings and then where you get to hide in the draw a little bit. I mean, I'm sure Taylor would like to be 4 and not 9, right? Even though points wise ain't that far apart.
Sure.
So that's the kicker.
I'm with you, and I'm gonna reserve all my comments. Good luck, Lorenzo, if you're a friend of the pod. That's all I'm
okay,
say.
that's a step up. That's a step up.
I'm trying. Work with me here. Work with me, Alvin.
That's a step up. I don't want to overshadow his countrymen though.
I was going to say that's going to be a tough match.
Sonego.
There you go. Sonego going to be a tough one. That's going to be a barn burner. The whole that is the question mark of those two. Is it to me? I don't know the Collignon or whatever. Not sure I even seen him play before. But Sonego in that match could be tough. This whole section has a bunch of questions. Wawrinka's down there still trying to make something happen. Tsitsipas is a question mark in general. You've got, as you mentioned, you got Dimitrov's health. What is Mahatch doing? I mean, is he moving? Is he going? We don't know yet. And I think, both these, there's going to be some ball striking going on between these two, but that's about it. Lehechka could be able to pick up some slack. Struff is always a good player in matches like this, and he certainly would love to, of the two. You'd think that he might have the edge against Capriva, and then going into maybe a dinged up Taylor. Who knows? Let me say that's the whole draw. This whole subsection is just one big question mark after another. To your point, Musetti is the favorite and the higher seed, so fair enough. But there's just a lot. There's question marks not just about this tournament, about this subsection of the draw, but about their rest of their 2026 that I think that, would at least kind of that would come to bear with the results of this tournament.
Yeah, and one thing about Lehechka, like if a lot of people are high on Yuri Lehechka, he has shown all the kind of signals of a soon-to-be top 10 player. I would actually like to see him make a move here,
right? To do that,
like if he's going to do it. Right. Yes. And get to a point where, like, okay, maybe if he matches up with the Taylor Fritz in the third round, like if Taylor's not at his 100%, then a player like Lehechka should be able to dismiss him. 100% to 100%, I take Taylor, but if Taylor's a little off and Yuri is fit and ready to go, that's a match that he should win if top 10 is in his future. Okay. Let's keep bouncing here.
His countryman in the next part of the draw. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, very similar conversation.
Right. Who beat Taylor at Miami? You know what I mean? So this is Jakob has he wasn't done any favors with Carreño Busta. You know what I mean? Who I know is an elder statesman, but it's a tough match, and it's first round, so you're going to get. Is it Pablo? Is that his first name? You're going to get him as fresh as he's going to be. You know what I mean? So this could be a tough one for him for the young upstart. What's Jakob? 19, 20, give or take.
He might be 20 by now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? My point is that's a tough one there. And there's my main man Yodar. I was talking about quality then. I think he played a year or two at UVA before going pro, but I know he was a good player.
Okay.
This draw here has some. I saw him a little bit in that next gen tournament also. Lot of beef in this term in this draw here, Alvin. Lot of beef, lot of smacking of the ball in this one. I mean, from Ethan Quinn to Griekspoor, you got Hurkacz. I mean, there's some ball strikers in this. Van der Slap, I'm gonna call him because of his style. Your boy Van der Sloop. Say his name for me again, Alvin. You love saying his
Bartek
name.
van der Zandschlup.
That's him. It's just something that there's for everything that was question marks in the previous subsection. This one here, I don't know how they got all these big strikers in this one here. This is a lot of. They're gonna need extra balls with this subsection right here.
Well, let's even focus in on, you talk about big hitters. Hubie Hurkacz, right?
Yeah.
Gets hurt, takes some time off. He's back. First event back, United Cup, and he comes out just guns blazing, takes out Griekspoor, takes out Zverev, takes out Fritz, takes out Wawrinka, loses a close one to Minaur. Like, okay, all right. We forget Hubie was like, Hubie sent old Fed into retirement, right? That was his last match. So
last match.
He's a like a legitimate big guy with big weapons and has won a lot of matches on tour over the last, I'd say, 5 years. Another guy who's back, who adds another wrinkle to things. And then he's matching up against who's he got here? Zizou Bergs. Zizou's playing some great tennis right now. Also putting up great results in the last few months, not just in the United Cup where he took out Jakob Mensip and Felix Auger-Aliassime, but even going back into last year, finished the year really strong. So while we talk about like the top two, Sinner and Alcaraz, really just kind of carrying all the lights right now in men's tennis, slowly but surely we're getting more and more backstories, more and more depth, more and more I mean, just from a fan standpoint, like just matches worth watching, like competitive matches worth watching. I think like Bergs versus Hurkacz is just like, again, this is another one, put it out on course 16 and let the small fire grow. Like there's a lot of reason to not be on, one of the big courts for these early rounds and be out there watching a match like this. You could say the same thing for Ethan Quinn versus Griekspoor or Nakashima versus Van de Zandschulp, right? It's, I mean, back to back, there's 3 really, really good matches.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm pumped.
Exactly. Let me know if you're excited, Alvin.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
I'll tell you, this one here, and Alvin, I've turned over a new leaf in 2026. I am 100% going to be behind Novak Djokovic. I am not going to be waiting around for the retirement news. I am not going to be pushing this man into his wheelchair. This brother has played and continues to play and defy odds. I am getting behind him. I want him to win number 25, and it could not come at a better place than the Australian Open, where he's won how many? 10, give or take. So I'm just saying, this is his, Rafa's, Philip Chatrier, you know what I'm saying? Rod Laver, Vodafone, whatever the main court is his house. And Alvin, I said it. I'm saying it with my chest. Novak 2026.
Oh, wow, you went all the way. I thought you were gonna just hedge there just a little bit, but you went ahead and said that Novak Djokovic is gonna win the Australian Open in the year of our Lord 2026. Let me
he can do it.
Push back.
He can do it. Push back.
Sure. Let me push back just a little bit. Yes, this is Rod Laver Arena is Novak's house, but it's like a house in a really nice neighborhood, but the house has been there for a while. So like
it's been there.
They're actually gonna knock it down and build a bigger house on the same lot. And this is now Jannik Sinner's lot.
but until they do.
I'm just saying Sinner's won the last 2. This is his lot now. Thank you for taking care of it. This neighborhood, the value of this neighborhood has gone up because you've been here, but
Thank you.
this is my lot now. And Novak is also on center's half of the draw. That's not where you want to be. It's not where you
All
want
the
to be.
better. Alvin, I'm standing behind my man.
God, I just gave you so many outs and you didn't take a single one.
I'm still standing behind him. I'm not taking the outs, Alvin. I'm going with him, and I'm tired of rooting against him. I'm tired of he continues to show that he is you heard it right here, third best player in the world. And to me, period, even at his age. And so the only out I will take is something unforeseen happening with his health, which is unfortunately likely at this stage in the game. Happened last year.
Every tournament, yep.
Every tournament. But I'm saying happened at this tournament last year. I'm saying I'm just saying that's the only out I'm taking. I just feel on a matchup, right? And I look forward to the matchup with center / Alcaraz. I gotta tell you, Alvin, at the end of the day, I think he's the only one that can beat him. And that's my little fine print. And aside from each other. And that's
right,
why I'm
right.
It's more on that than anything else.
Yeah, I'm with you in parts. In parts of that, I'm with you. Right. He is the best chance.
He's the best of the rest.
Anyone.
Period.
Yes,
that is, and that's why I'm going all
considering
in.
His age. That's I can consider his age. I think that's
what it is. It's concerning.
Yes, it's concerning, and it's also awe-inducing, right? Like of all the players, the one that can actually push these guys the most is the eldest of the bunch.
Thank you.
It just shows age is just a number to a certain extent.
Thank you. Statistically, it probably ain't gonna happen. But I gotta back him because I feel like if anybody can, it's him. And more importantly, if it were to happen, I would love to see the elder statesman go out the way he wants to go out and keep it moving. And this is as good a chance as any, fresh, healthy to make it happen. And that's why I'm hedging the bet. And that's why I'm going with it. I'm not delusional that he's going to beat anybody in straight sets. He's going to be lucky to get through the tournament. They didn't get through last year. I am 100% realist, just saying he has as good a shot as anybody and perhaps better to beat Sinner and Alcaraz. And as far as I'm concerned, I wish I had a better feeling about everybody else, the other 121 players in the 125 players in the draw.
25 players. Well, so the thing is, though, what you're saying about Novak, I agree, and I only we've seen this path a few times in the last year, right? So if you go all the way back to Australian Open of last year, right? Novak beats Carlos in the quarters, right? Expends but what did it cost him? It cost me everything, right? And then could not finish the match against Zverev, and then Zverev goes on to lose against Sinner. Okay,
sure.
Go to the French Open. Okay, so and Novak's continued to say, like, I just got to not play these guys. My better chances if I play them later, right? Okay, so in the French Open, he gets Zverev in the quarters. Handles him pretty easily. Loses to Sinner in the semis. Like, he couldn't get by him. Straight sets. Just got beat. No injury, no nothing. Just got beat. Okay,
just got beat.
Wimbledon, same thing. Comes in, tournament beats him up. Plays Sinner in the semis. Sinner walks him, right? All the way to the U.S. Open. Okay, he gets Carlos in the semis. Carlos walks him. So it's like, yeah, he can get there. He can get to one of them. But then what?
Early in the year.
Besides beating Carlos 12 months ago, right? Who's moving
caveats.
up and who's moving down?
2 caveats.
Please.
Okay. 2 caveats for one Jannik Sinner. Had they been forced a time rule, he would have lost to Holger Rune. Rune.
Okay, fair.
Second, down 2 sets to love. A miraculous change of fate hands him the match in Wimbledon against Grigor Dimitrov, getting his butt kicked.
Okay.
Now, I only say because those are the 2 Grand Slams your boy etched last year. So you can't tell me with a few caveats, if that Jannik is Mr. Triathlon himself. And I'm only mentioning this to say, I hear you. It's also 51, 49. This is the first slam of the season. And I give him, Novak, he has his best chance right now due to health, due to being fresh, due to the grind of the tour of the year, having not set in yet, and he's won it 10 times. So I got to think he's comfortable there, right? He knows his
he's
favorite
comfortable
sushi
everywhere. He's won all.
spot.
He's won all of them.
You know
he's
what
won
I'm
all
saying,
of them.
but he's more comfortable here. This was his first one. This was his, I'm pretty sure it's 10 of the 25. That's a lot, Alvin. That's a lot. And I'm only mentioning you to say, that's all I'm saying. And I'm just putting it out there because, as we know, the elements, I'm not worried about it getting hot with Novak. Well, I'm worried about that with Yannick. I'm not worried about anything else except for a hammy and a little stiffness in the back and a little sciatica. That's all I'm worried about. I'm worried about.
That's it. That's it.
That's it. We got Advil for that.
Those are equally as likely as Yannick getting burned down by the heat.
No question. I'm just saying. And the fact that he plays Yannick first, I'm just saying, if it's possible, its best chance is happening now. I'm not walking it back. My only out is physically related, which I think we both understand could happen at any time between now and 2 weeks from now. I'm just saying, rest of the tour needs to step up because once he does retire, you guys, there better be somebody ready to take the lot for real because that big house has propped up the values of a lot of homes in this neighborhood.
That's fair. That's fair. And I think, well, you brought up a couple of interesting cases. I'm less. The time thing in the Australian Open last year against Holger. I mean, he still beat Holger 3-1, right? It wasn't like they went 5 or anything.
It was a 20-minute timeout, Alvin. 20 minutes.
Yeah. But the Wimbledon thing was real. And I think that goes against the whole that just showed that Novak and Carlos are not the only ones that have the ability to beat Yannick. Grigor was right there. Grigor had him dead to rights. So I think that is that gives us more hope if you're looking for a little more variability in these guys. If you don't want to see the two players split the slams every year, I think there's still some hope that we get a third person or a different person or not one of them. There's hope.
We can move on. I feel hope. Like we've spoke to it enough, but I had to mention that because I feel like we don't often give. I don't. Not you per se. I don't always give the current GOAT his due, and I'm gonna give Lorenzo his, but I'm gonna darn sure give Novak his. Who's more than deserved it.
Okay. Fair. All right, let's we're rounding third here. This is the top half of the center quarter, headlined by one Ben Shelton. Come on, not a bad looking draw for Ben.
Nope.
Not a bad looking draw for Ben at all. I believe he's had some battles with Ugo Humbert. I feel like lefty matchup. Ugo
he does
lefty,
not
right?
do well with lefty matchups. I was just gonna say, big time.
Yeah.
Lefty. Serve plays very, very similar to him. I don't like two other lefties in this Manarino nor Dennis. So I'm just saying there's a lot of lefties in this one that are known to give some people some fits. I might be missing one more. This matchup, to your point, you're right. I like a lot of the things that are going on here. But this matchup, I do not like the Humbert matchup for him as an ideal situation. I just feel like he also serves big, comes in, bringing the heat big time, and this will be a shootout with the serves. I mean, 100%. I just feel like Ben's a little more tested, but they play. If you had to pick his carbon copy across the water, I mean, his name would start with a U. You know what I mean? Just saying.
That's close. Yeah, it's close. It's definitely close.
So that's
it's a sneaky one, and Ugo's ranked 36 right now in the world, so he's just outside of the seeding. There's your worst case scenario of just picking up a seeded caliber player who's been seeded in other Grand Slams before. Ranking moves either way 4 or 5 spots, plus or minus, and
boom.
Seeded at the French Open, not seeded at Australian Open, and there you go, right there. That's you don't want that, but that's what happens sometimes.
It is what it is. Altmaier and Cilic, I saw.
Valentin.
Sorry,
Yeah, Altmaier and Cilic. Before that one, Valentin Vachereau.
My main man.
We talked about him a little bit at the back end of last year after he made that run in, was it Beijing? Did he win Beijing? Or
he made 2 runs.
I forget
was
which.
it Beijing and the other one? He made 2 back-to-back, I thought.
No, the one he won, the 1,000 that he actually won.
Right.
Anyways, I talk about him a lot from the standpoint of what one good week can do for you.
Right.
And in comparing and contrasting his run at that 1,000 to, let's say, Chris Eubanks' run at Wimbledon in 20, I think that was 24 maybe,
Yep.
or maybe it was 23. I can't remember exactly which year. It was Shanghai. Sorry, Shanghai. Vachereau, he won Shanghai, beating everyone, including Novak on the way there.
Yep.
He, with having such a high value result, right? Getting all 1,000 of those points, and then moving forward into the next year with nothing to defend.
Right.
Like, he wanted to defend anything until September of next year, of this year, pardon me. Now,
after the U.S. Open, yeah.
It's just like he can go into every single tournament, which it seems like he's been doing so far. Like, he went into Paris, picked up 3 wins, right? So it's Paris Masters, and then I think opening this year he lost his first round match against Sebastian in Brisbane. But if he can just have a normal professionals year, he is now a mainstay in the tour. He doesn't have to like prove that he can win 1,000s. He just has to win a match here, win 2 matches here, just be a pro, kick, 2 here, week here, travel here, pick up a win here, like bust around the 16 somewhere. And like, now he's just a professional tennis player. He's no longer in the challenger circuit. He's on the pro tour, and he did it in like, got himself there and showed that, almost carrying the torch for all the guys who are in the challengers, like saying there are players here who can ball, and you just need to be given an opportunity or create an opportunity, take advantage of an opportunity, and when you do, bring it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
And I'm happy made a career.
He's seated. He's got Martin Dam is always a good player. This would be a good matchup for him, though. I feel like Vachereau can run the tables on this side of things. And again, he's the big serves. The big serves don't bother him. The tough players don't bother him. If things go to fruition, I mean, he could be a tough matchup for Benny Shelton. I'm telling you right now. I mean, this could be a very that's not an afterthought, that match, against with Vachereau, because of his year and because of who he's beaten and the belief he has. So that's a match that I'm looking at, again, not to mention who's in his way. This will be a tough test right here. And then we can't forget about, well, obviously Cilic and Altmaier. And you got Jaime Minaur down there, and you got Bellucci playing Casper Ruud, who's back from injury. So there's a lot of meat in this one, in this subsection too, Alvin. This is a very, I'm not going to say it's a bad section for Ben, because I like Ben's chances with all of them, and with this game, he tends to be on his racket, which you like. But there's some players here that could. There's always players in this specific matchup. There's a couple of lefties, and there's a few other top players that have had good success counter-punishing big servers, not the least of which is Casper Ruud. So this is not each match is going to be a little bit of white knuckling, and not for me and you, but in theory, this could be some white knuckling going on right here. You know what I mean?
And poor Ben, or not poor Ben, but he could potentially get 3 Frenchmen in a row. He's got potentially Monfils in the second round if he can get past Humbert.
I was seeing that.
Monfils in this will be his final. This will be his finals Australian Open. So, and yeah, it's going to be work. But that's what it is. Grand Slams are the crown jewel of our sport. So if you want to,
that's what you sign up for. Glory, you know what I mean? That's why there's such big tournaments, and they're so emotionally captivating and draining both. Like, each match you feel like, oh God, that match. And every time I see the prize money and the points, I'm like, God, it's a lot of money. But I'm also like, it was a great tournament though. You know what I mean? The tournament was
and Ben played Gail last year in this event, like round of 16, after Gail beat I think it was Taylor the round before. Right. Round of 32, I believe. and then ran out of gas. I think he ended up retiring in the fourth set, something like that.
Right.
But that'll be the kicker, right? Can Gale get through this match against Sweeney
right.
efficiently?
Right.
Then I think he's right there. He's right there. He's right.
Agree.
He's always right there. He's a true professional. All right, TH, let's bring this home.
Yep.
We're down here in the bottom half of Yannick Sinner's quarter. Rematch. They played last year.
Yeah.
They played last year in this event. That was the coming out party for Mickelson. Mix took him out in round 32. This year's event, or last year's event, pardon me. I think Mickelson, he beat first. He beat Tsitsipas, then he beat Kachanov. So, can Alex conjure up the magic again? I don't know. We'll see.
Be tough.
See. Probably not twice. But maybe. Fonseca.
Okay.
A little banged up right now. He's pulled out of 2 consecutive events. Back's been acting up. He's had some kind of chronic back problems ever since juniors, apparently, and it's kind of he's had some flare-ups lately. I don't even know if he's going to play. I know the draw's out. I guess he would have pulled out beforehand. So we shall see. But
right.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
I think this is an interesting little section as well. I think the draw on the whole, I think, is balanced. It's got some good matches all the way through. There's no killer sections. I think we've got a pretty balanced draw on first pass here. I don't see any issues for popping up for Yannick. I mean, even if Fonseca is 100% healthy and ready to roll and they meet in the third round, I feel like that's
Yannick all day. Yeah, you're right.
I don't think he's quite ready for that yet.
No, and I'm more worried about, and as you say, I'm more worried about Fonseca being healthy, period, and let alone for the rest of the year and his career. I'm more worried about the topper section of that with Nishesh, Berrettini, and O'Connor. That could be a tough one. Playing the winner of that Kachanov Mickelson match, and then you've got Darderi, just hanging in the back and waiting in the wings. And to me, that's a matchup that you don't ever want to. You got these wily Italians hanging out there. That's just a tough match.
So many of them. God bless.
It's a whole wave, guys and girls. You know what I mean? So hats off to the whole Italian captain. I was talking to a coach at the Intense event about 2-3 weeks ago, and he was Italian. And shout out to Pistolesi, who was one of the old school Italian players from back in the day. He was telling me how just not even 15 years ago, how they were really starting to finally get a lot of Italian players out of Italy to start playing more. He was giving me the whole story about Yannick, gave me the whole story about, all of them, Norrie to Darderi to Musetti he gave me the rundown of all of them when they were kids, when they were growing up. He gave me the whole thing. And I had a newfound respect for what the country can do to really give these kids a real start and really put some money support and some wild cards and travel behind them. And so anyway, what he's saying now is that some of the talent's always been there, they just never went anywhere. Right? And so now they're getting out and starting to. It's just really fun to see, and for those players to be a part of this wave. We talked about Coach Ureta earlier, obviously with Jasmine leading the charge with the Italian girls. There's I think. We all know about Irani and others that have been balling for a while now, right? So, and you can't forget about the world number 1/number 2 in Yannick Sinner. So the Italians are doing something right, and it's more than just coffee and fast cars, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I think we're at a place now where we can rest. I think we've done it justice. I feel like we can move into just getting excited about the tennis ahead of us.
Right.
And maybe we'll come back, I'd say probably after the second round, do a little recap of what we've seen so far, unless something very, very, very weird happens between in the first round. I think that's probably the best time for you guys to hear from us again. So let's go ahead and put a pin in it. Best of 3. We are out. Enjoy the Australian Open, guys.